Welcome to the Now. I'm Ashley.
I'm Mica.
Mini consoles seem like they're all the rage these days. Nintendo's having released the NES and the SNES classics, and they seem to keep them on shelves. Atari is working on its own version, although I think that's a third-party one, but we may have another challenger on the horizon.
Ooh, thanks to a new announcement, there are some rumblings out there that we could get not just one, but several mini SEGA consoles coming in the very near future, including a freaking Dreamcast.
Finally getting back into that hardware.
Aw, yeah. That would obviously be huge news to retro gaming fans, considering that SEGA and Nintendo were the biggest players in gaming through much of the 80s and 90s.
So yeah, obviously a wish list the fans would love to have when it comes to a throwback SEGA console. So we'll go through some of those, but let's do the newsy bit first.
SEGA and Retrobit, a company that makes retro clone hardware, announced today that the two have signed a deal to make accessories for a number of SEGA consoles, including the Saturn, Dreamcast, and the Mega Drive.
All right, so that does make it a little third party, but hopefully not like that Atari one that was really terrible. Now you may be wondering, why would anyone need accessories for consoles that haven't been around for years? You're not alone wondering that. But that has led to some speculation that the partnership is actually a deal to make a retro SEGA system.
But to taper some of that enthusiasm before you get too excited, it's also worth mentioning that this is merely a licensing deal with SEGA. Of which
I'm getting less excited now.
Have been signed in the past already. And so far none of those have panned out to be too great, you know, like that at-game SEGA Genesis Flashback HD, which released earlier this year to shitty reviews.
Yeah, so it is possible this is not worth getting super worked up about, but cross your fingers, maybe. I mean, you gotta be a little bit excited about a potential Dreamcast Mini, right? Just the very idea, and from the wording of the announcement, it sounds like maybe more of a collaboration with SEGA than some of those other licensed products you get.
In a statement, Retrobit said the first products and concepts under the agreement include several accessories that feature the same great quality as their original SEGA counterparts, like the original console port, but also with modern upgrades such as a USB port for the PC compatibility and Bluetooth wireless technology.
And then they dropped a little bit of a tease on us, saying they're going to be announcing more at CES early next year.
Ooh.
So we're not gonna have to wait too long to find out what this is all about, since CES happens early January.
Kdin, CEO of NX Inc., which is the distributor of Retrobit, said, "With retro gaming on an upswing, we are pleased to offer officially SEGA licensed accessories in their original format, as well as apply the innovative classic gaming enhancements that have become the hallmark of Retrobit. We're excited to unveil the first of these new products and concepts at CES, and do so alongside an exciting 2018 product catalog."
Okay, so if this is a hint that we're getting some kind of mini classic consoles with a more collaborative stamp from SEGA, not hard to see why they might be doing something like this, right? Ever since Nintendo dropped the NES Classic on us last year, it feels like the whole world's got retro fever. Both the NES and the SNES Classics, which have come with a bunch of those pre-installed classic games, they have sold well, spoiler alert, and the biggest problem Nintendo's had is just keeping them available. They're even re-releasing the NES Classic next year because of the huge demand.
And just like Nintendo, SEGA has a pretty extensive back catalog to draw on. Its consoles, especially the Genesis, had some classic retro games, and to this day, SEGA still has a special place in a lot of gamers' hearts. However, unlike Nintendo, SEGA doesn't run its own manufacturing anymore since they're out of the hardware games.
R.I.P.
Yeah, so partnering up with a third party like Retrobit is pretty much a prerequisite for cashing in on the retro rage.
And again, this is all very preliminary, but hey, let's daydream for just a second that this is a real thing, that it's not gonna suck, and that SEGA's gonna be helping with something like a retro Mega Drive, Saturn, Dreamcast.
Ooh.
And what kind of games go well with a system like this? Like,
well, as for the Mega Drive / Genesis system, there are loads of options, including Gunstar Heroes, Streets of Rage 2, Sonics 1 through 3, Super Street Fighter 2, Phantasy Star 4, Aladdin, Mortal Kombat 2, yes, Aladdin, Earthworm Jim, Comic Zone, Contra, Hardcore, Toe Jam and Earl, Golden Axe, Shining Force 2, oh, and Altered Beast.
Of course, Altered Beast.
Yeah, some of those might be a little more complicated thanks to complicated licensing, but hey! We can dream.
We can indeed. Right now, that's all we can do.
Yes.
As for the Sega Saturn, that console had a lot more first-party titles to choose from, and that might be a bit easier to get on the system. Our personal picks would be Virtua Fighter 2, Shining Force 3, Radiant Silvergun, Grandia, Panzer Dragoon Saga,
yes,
Guardian Heroes, Nights into Dreams,
yes,
which was awesome, Dragon Force, Astol, Sega Rally Championship, and, of course, Virtua Cop. It's not actually a throwback console. It doesn't have Virtual Cop. And you know what would be great? If we can get the gun accessory for it.
Yes. And that brings us to the Dreamcast, which is a personal favorite of my heart and which we all still miss.
I think there's a sore spot in a lot of gaming hearts about that one still.
I still have mine at home, personally. Okay, so of course we have Soul Calibur, Jet Grind Radio, Shenmue 1 and 2.
Oh, you don't even need those remakes.
Right, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Crazy Taxi, Ikaruga, Grandia 2, Power Stone, Skies of Arcadia, Phantasy Star Online, and it's not listed here, but Sega freaking Bass Fishing.
Also, Phantasy Star Online only if they actually can do online.
Yes, yes. I mean, if they could do it, but it's 2017, so, you know.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Those are our picks. Again, we'll have to see if this turns out to be real or not. Again, given the current retro crazy environment, this is a distinct possibility. There's a lot of money to be made in old games, and where there's demand, well, the supply usually comes through. But I think it's gonna be really, really important if they wanna do this, do it right. That's the one lesson from Nintendo. There have been a lot of these before. There's like the Atari Flashback, and the first party ones had a quality you can't argue with. So you can't just say, I will just cash in on this. They won't sell if you do that. Make them real good. Anyway, that's what I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, what do you guys think of the possibility of a Sega retro system? What would you like to see on it? And is it Sega Bass Fishing? I know it is. Let us know in the comments.
And for all your video game news, especially if it means we end up talking about old Sega games, make sure you like this video. If you're new around here, subscribe to the know.
And enjoy your fishing.
Really quick shameless plug, it's getting super close to Christmas. If you're panicking for ideas, we got them.
A whole gift guide full of gifts.
So many, from Cuphead pop figures to a die-cast replica of the spinner from Blade Runner 2049 to a giant Thor hammer to a Bob Ross blanket to...
Yeah, there's hundreds of ideas, all of those. Ideas. And apparently there are porgs there, so check them out.
So many porgs.
And let them know what you think at giftguide.roosterteeth.com, porgs.